Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. All right, proof that we are in World War III. This is a Zero Hedge article, and the title is Economist Nouriel Roubini. In some sense, World War III has already started. Yes, so everybody's coming to the conclusion that pretty much all of us have come to already. That indeed we are in the middle of World War III. It's not a conventional war like World War II. It's starting off slow. It's covert. It's cyber attacks and proxy wars, which is the new way to do war. This is what Israel does with Iran, the proxy war. They battle not on each other's soil, but in Syria, in Lebanon. They battle each other with proxy forces. It's called a proxy war. So war isn't done the same way where one country goes in and flies over to the other country and drops bombs necessarily, although that does happen. But it's very much a proxy war, a covert war, a cyber war that's ongoing. So Putin's refusal to rule out using tactical nukes in Russia's war against Ukraine put much of the world on edge last month. But economist Roubini says nuclear escalation of that nearly 8-month conflict could mark the start of a global battle. Yes, it has already. And just quickly, this is going to be a short video, but I just want to cover some important things to let you know that mainstream is catching on. People are starting to talk about it. The New York University business professor contends a Cold War already exists between the U.S. and China, and that it could escalate into a hot war or overt war as President Xi Jinping aims to unite China and Taiwan. So we've got multiple battlefronts going, significant, with the two other world powers, the United States, Russia, and China. And these could turn into a hot war at any time. Roubini appeared on Monday at Yahoo Finance's 2022 All Market Summit ahead of the release of a book, Mega Threats, 10 Dangerous Threats That Imperil Our Future and How to Survive Them. He says, in some sense, World War III has already started. It started in Ukraine because the conflict has broader implications that go well beyond Russia and Ukraine. It's the beginning of something else. Yes, it is indeed. This is another Zero Hedge article, actually from the Epoch Times. 3 more injuries approved for compensation by U.S. authorities. You can read the title there. I don't want to trigger the YouTube algorithms. But there you go. They are now starting to recognize that maybe some things come from the you-know-what, and they're starting to compensate. This is not... You're probably not going to see this on your CBC or your CNN. I'm sure this will be kept quiet. They don't want to make people think that there's anything wrong with the you-know-what. In Australia, another country that is recognizing that there have been deaths associated to it. What are they doing there? This is from ArmstrongEconomics.com. Australia is to pay funeral expenses for those who have died from the mandatory you-know-what. So those that have died from it, Australia, the country, the government of Australia is now paying for the funeral of those people who have died from it specifically. Not from getting sick, but died from the you-know-what. So countries, this is finally coming into the light. They were hiding this forever. They still don't want to make it public because they still don't want people to be scared. And this is the narrative that you've heard probably across all prepper channels, all news channels, Dr. John, and many other doctors on YouTube, was this realization, this truth that's coming out, that in fact governments had these backroom conversations saying, you know what, we don't want to scare people. We don't want to turn them away from this. So we're going to twist the truth. We're not going to tell them the complete truth because it's better for society as a whole to go along with this half-truth than to give people all the information. Now, do you want to live under a government who is telling you half-truths and maybe otherwise lying to you for the good of the general population? This is what they're doing. I think it's a very scary precedent, and this is exactly what the world government will be doing. They will be thinking in terms of what is good for the general population, the greater good of humanity, versus what is good for the individual. Remember, healthcare, medical health, and doctors They always used to do what was good for the individual and your individual situation. If they start doing medicine with the idea of what is good for the general population, then you know what will come. Forced mandatory sterilizations and maybe euthanasia for old people because, they weigh down the healthcare system, don't they? They consume your tax money that you're paying to the government, and that could be used for other things like maybe planting trees or something. Maybe solve climate change with all the money that is going towards all the old people who are still living when we could euthanize them, right? Or abortions, all sorts of things. So it's incredible. We'll end on this. This is another Zero Hedge article. Now, all the world leaders love this war. They love, not only because they're making money hand over foot with building bombs, airplanes, all sorts of weapons of war, but also because it raises the price of fuel. They love it. And I've heard multiple locations, multiple people from different countries and around the world saying in one form or another, I think maybe it was Fauci that said it, as well as I think Bill Gates made a similar comment. This is great for society because it moves ahead people. It moves people to go to green energy. And this is what the Biden energy advisor is admitting, that the Biden admin wants to limit oil production to accelerate the transition. So Amos Hochstein admitted Wednesday that while the regime wants to increase oil production in short term, its overall aim is to limit it in order to accelerate the transition. Well, what transition? According to appearing on CNN, Hochstein proclaimed, "I think we have been clear that we want to see the U.S. industry increase oil production." Then in the same breath, Hochstein stated that the main goal is to limit production of fossil fuel-derived energy now in order to make sure that we're in a better footing to accelerate the transition. So we have to make the differentiation between to make sure the American consumer has what it needs to grow our economy and the global economy, but not take steps that endanger the climate work that we're trying to do. He continued, it's about making a choice. What is the short term and medium term so that we can make sure that we have enough oil and gas to support us through the transition to green energy. So they love it. It's a great excuse. It pushes people to buy electric cars. Meanwhile, in California, they're telling you to not charge your electric car. I don't know if that's still going or not. That was a couple of weeks ago they did that. It's incredible. But they want to move everybody to green energy. And the price of oil and gas and shipping certainly forces people to start thinking of alternatives. So the leaders of the world, they love it that gas is going up, that diesel is going up, that energy is increasing. And so there's, from both sides, the climate change side and the money they're making from these big corporations pushing the war machine ahead, there's no interest in politicians and the rich people to stop the war, to lessen global conflict, because that they wouldn't make as much money if that was the case. So greed, money is the root of all evil. It's the thing that really pushes. Money in itself is not evil, but it's what causes people to do evil things as they search out for that, as they lust for it, as they see nothing beyond this lifetime for them. They don't believe in Jesus Christ. They don't believe in eternity. So they want to gather as much as they can now. And of course, we know that as soon as you die, you're going to leave everything behind. And everything's going to be burned up when the Lord returns. So anyways, I'll leave there, guys, a quick update on kind of the news situation as it relates to the economy and other information. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.